Welcome to GameTable Online's video tutorial for the board game Battlecry. www.GametableOnline.com is a web portal that brings great board tabletop games to the internet. There have been a few games with the name Battlecry. GTO hosts the version based on the 2000 Wizards of the Coast Avalon Hill game designed by Richard Borg. The game is a light war game set in the U.S. Civil War. Each turn you select one card, and that card determines which units can act and how. Richard Borg has designed a number of games with the same mechanic, including the games Memoir 44, Battle Lore, and the Command and Colors series by GMT Games. If you're familiar with any of these games, you should be able to pick up the others fairly easily. The game is meant for two players, one player being the Union, the other player being the Confederate forces. There are 16 different historical scenarios to choose from. For this video, we're going to choose the Gaines Mill scenario and pick the Confederate forces. As the game starts up here, we're presented with an introduction page that will show how many cards each player receives in their hand, any special rules for the game, and the historical notes for the scenario. How you win in Battlecry is by being the first player to collect 6 victory flags. You typically get a victory flag for each enemy unit you eliminate. Some scenarios also give bonus flags for occupying particular strategic hexes. Taking a scan of the map board here, we can see the 4 different types of units in the game: infantry, artillery, cavalry, and generals. By hovering over each unit, we can see the different stats: movement, attack, and range for those units. Movement is how many hexes a unit can move. Range, how far it can shoot, and the attack value shows how many dice it rolls when it makes an attack at 0 range. Generals are special units that can attach to other units for their own protection and to enhance the attack rolls for the units that they're with. On their own, they do not attack. The first step in our turn is selecting which card to play from our hand. We have 5 cards in our hand for this game, and by hovering over it, you'll get a larger version of the card to read. The majority of the cards will give you the ability to issue orders to between 1 and 3 units of yours, and they indicate specifically which zone that the units can be from. The map board is divided into 3 zones: the left flank, the right flank, and the center. Move this over to here. Let's go with this one here. We're going to play a probe card, which lets us issue orders, I should say, to 2 units or generals on the right flank. To select a unit, just click on it and it will fade out slightly. It can be deselected if you change your mind on the units you want to move, or once it's selected, you can also move it. Until you click the Done button in the upper right-hand corner, you can change your movement from that card. If you move multiple units and you want to retract one of the first move you made, you must retract the roll's moves after, and then retract the whole movement. When we're satisfied with the move, we'll click the Done button. The next phase after that would be the combat phase, but because we were out of range for any units to attack, that was skipped Let's see if we can get us to a real combat situation here. Okay, this should do it here. Move that off to the side there. So we played a coordinated attack, which gives us an ability to issue orders to one unit in each zone. So we moved one in the left, one in the center, and one in the right. And now that we're finished with our movement, we go to the combat phase. Units that have legal targets in range and line of sight will remain ghosted. By clicking on them, the server will provide us with a red outline of all legal targets that we can shoot. Once you've determined, just click on the unit you want to fire on, and the number of attack dice will be rolled based on your attack strength. Each additional hex of range reduces the number of dice thrown by 1. When an attack is made, special Battlecry 6-sided combat dice are rolled. Instead of having numbers on these 6-sided dice, each die has a symbol that corresponds to the unit types: infantry symbols, infantry, cavalry, and artillery. There are also flags and cross sabers. When you make an attack on an infantry unit, every die that lands on an infantry symbol counts as a hit against an infantry unit. Cavalry sided dice, facing dice are hit cavalry units, and artillery hit artillery dice. The cross sabers are wild cards, which can hit any unit, and the flag, as we can see here, cause the unit to retreat 1 space. So in addition to taking 2 hits from that attack from the computer opponent, we're also forced to retreat 1 space, like so. Generals can only be targeted when they're attached to another unit or unattached to another unit, and they are only hit on cross sabers, so they can be difficult to hit. If they are part of an attacking infantry or cavalry unit, they give the unit 1 more die to attack with. Those are the basics of the game. In addition to standard order cards, there are a variety of special cards that range from bringing in reinforcements, copying your opponent's last attack, targeting specific unit types with actions, and the dreaded all-out offensive card, which lets you issue an order to every unit of yours on the board. There are also a variety of terrain types, and they have a variety of effects. Some modify combat, some stop movement upon entering, some are blocking line of sight for combat, and some provide elevation to fire from. Hovering over a terrain hex will give you the tooltip to describe what the effect of each hex has. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. In the description section here at YouTube.com, there's a hyperlink that you can immediately use to get into a game of Battlecry for free at www.gametableonline.com.